Hey, welcome back to my channel. I'm the Mysterious Vegan, and today we're going to be making cauliflower wings, specifically buffalo cauliflower wings. I love these. These are really good comfort food to me, remind me of regular boneless wings, and really easy to make. So without further ado, let's get into it. So you're going to need some cauliflower. I've already cut this up into like little florets. It's been washed and dried. You want to make sure it's really dry. You don't want to have any wet cauliflower. It's not going to do good with the breading. Also, you're going to need some non-dairy milk. I use unsweetened almond milk. You're going to need some flour. I like rye flour for this, so I use rye flour. You're also going to need a little bit of oil. I'm using grapeseed oil, and then spices and seasonings, but we'll go over that. Also, you're going to need, if you're going to be using one whole head at a time, you're going to want to make your batter out of 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed. So I'm only doing a half a cauliflower right now, so I've only got 1 tablespoon in here, ground up really fine. And then I'm gonna come in here with some almond milk. You know, really not that much. It's probably 1/4 of a cup. I don't know. I'll come up with some measurements and put them in the description. So you want to whisk this together a little bit, get the flax and the milk all together. This is gonna be our egg batter mixture. And then once that's mixed up, you can let it sit for a few minutes and it will thicken up. While we're doing that, you want to make sure your oven is preheated to 450. All right, cool. So to make the flour breading, and this is pulled dirty because this is not my first batch I've made today. So boom. All right, so you're gonna take about, if you're doing a whole head, probably 3/4 of a cup of flour, probably a half a cup of flour. But I'm just doing a little bit here. Now it's time to season these up. Let's move this so you get a little bit better view. There we go. Cool. So definitely want to do some paprika. There it goes. Paprika. And I put this stuff in both. I like it a little spicy, so I put some cayenne pepper just in the flour mix. Onion powder goes in both. Let's see, we do white pepper in just the mix here. Salt goes in both. Pepper in the dry one. That's probably confusing. You can really use whatever seasonings you want, but this is my recipe. I'd use Old Bay as well. I put this in both. Clearly I need some more of this. Garlic powder as well in both. And I really like this. I don't even know what this is. Tony's Ketcheries. It's a Creole seasoning. I use this in the breading. And boom, that's it. So give this a stir. And you see this is kind of thickened up to a little bit of a creamier consistency. Probably sit for another minute. Also, we're gonna be making buffalo sauce while these are cooking in the oven. For that buffalo sauce, you're gonna need some non-dairy butter. And just so everybody knows, Country Crock is actually vegan. Fun fact of the day. You're gonna need some hot sauce, and I like to use this other hot sauce too. So I use mostly like a Louisiana hot sauce, and then a little splash of some, I'm not even gonna try to say this, so some of this like Mexican hot sauce. All right, and then that's pretty much it. Now it's just time to, let's actually switch these. Dip it in the wet batter. Oops. Shake it off a little bit. Put it in the dry. And I just shake these around. I'm lazy. Boom. Okay. And lastly, before you put them in the oven, you want to brush them with a little bit of oil. So I'm gonna take my grapeseed oil, my handy dandy little silicone brush here, and you just want to, let's move this closer. All right, you just want to lightly dust them. You don't want to drown them. You don't want to do a whole lot. You don't want to get all the breading off. You just want to, really, I just kind of like slap them. Slap them like you're patting on the butt or something. And we're gonna put these in, and then at the halfway mark, we're gonna flip them over and do this to the flip side. All right, cool. Then once you've got them all oiled up, you wanna put them in the oven at 450 for 20 minutes. All right, now while that is in the oven baking, we can go ahead and make our buffalo sauce. So on a small burner that is on medium heat, this is just leftovers from the batch I made earlier. I'm just going to build right on top of it because it's my kitchen and I can do what I want. You're gonna take a couple tablespoons. It really depends on how much cauliflower you're making to how much sauce or how much butter you're going to use and how much sauce that you want. This does last in the refrigerator, so you can make extra and just keep it in the refrigerator for next use, or if you just like buffalo dip, boom. So really it's up to your discretion, but at least if you're going to be doing for one cauliflower, you want to do at least probably 1.5 tablespoons. 1.5 tablespoons is probably good. For the little amount that I'm doing right now, probably 1 tablespoon is gonna do me. So you got that on there. Then I come in here with a couple shakes of my, whoa, it's more than a couple shakes, but that's good. And then you want to put about 1/4 cup of your Louisiana hot sauce, or you can use Red Hot. You can use whatever kind of hot sauce suits your fancy. I think that's good. So you just want to warm this up. Stir it around, make sure you melt that butter. And then, you know, I can't leave well enough alone. We got to add some more seasonings to this because it ain't quite there. So, my beloved garlic powder. You want to put just a little bit of this in here. Now, you don't want to put a lot, and you want to make sure as soon as you put every seasoning in, you stir it, because if you just leave it, it'll kind of cake up and ball up in there. So you want to put your seasonings in a little bit at a time and slowly. So I'm gonna add some onion powder. And I'm gonna add a little bit of ground mustard. So a little bit of that. And once the butter is all melted and everything is stirred in and it's a consistency like this, I like it a little bit on the wetter side. If you want it to be thicker, just add more butter, but I like it on the thin side. But that's pretty much it. Super easy. And you can just set that aside and wait until the wings come out. Alright, so after 20 minutes, you want to take them out the oven and you want to flip them over and oil the other side. So using a spatula, I like to use a spatula. This is a non-stick silicone baking sheet. I would highly recommend getting one of these because if not, and you're just doing it on regular foil or on regular metal, you will have a problem with sticking and you probably will lose half of your breading. So definitely use a non-stick sheet, and then, you know, instead of just grabbing them, you want to scoop under, flip up. And even still, you see I got a little bit that comes off there if you're not too careful. Alright, and just like we did before, you're going to take a little bit of oil with your brush and just pat it on there. Then they're going to go back into the oven for 20 more minutes. Alright, and then when they come out, you can, I'll probably let them cool for a few minutes, but really, essentially, you just want to drizzle your sauce on there. Or you could brush it on with the little brush, whatever suits your fancy. I like to drizzle. But yeah, so you put it on there, and then boom, you got yourself some buffalo wings.